The CML is a wonderful place. I found out that both myself and my classmates loved it. We found a variety of materials that we could use. I used it almost every week. I was in here getting different materials and different puppets and different big books. I used at least half of the big books we have here. Sometimes I would just walk around and get ideas. Other times I sat at the computer and actually would look things up to make sure what kind of puppets they have, what puppets I wanted to use, what material I wanted to use, what book I wanted to get, and of course the assistance of the people that worked at the CML. Being in kindergarten, we have different themes, and with the themes I wanted to make sure I had materials that would promote the themes. In order to incorporate the materials, I would both use them when I teach, but also allow them to have access to the materials in our classroom library. They use the materials a variety of times. They would use it just at their free time. They would use it during recess. They would use it when they were just finished with their work. Commotion in the Ocean was their favorite big book. They loved the big book. They loved the illustrations. They loved the size. They loved the fact that they could open it up and a variety of students could look at it at one time. Another one of their favorite books was a rebus book. Being in kindergarten, they're just now learning to read, and they would really get into the book of specifically saying. And I would, of course, with younger kids, you have your finger and you touch read with them as you're saying it, and having pictures to actually be able to read. And this book was one of their favorites. They read along this book with me multiple times, and then I would put the book in the library and they would read it. It was hard to choose all the puppets that I wanted to use. I usually chose the puppets by the letter of the alphabet we were learning that week. And especially for our language students, and we were practicing language, like this little iguana here, we were practicing with the letter I for iguana. And while they were learning that, they played with it so much that, of course, a new tag had to be put on because it's somewhere in the classroom now. They just loved the idea that they could interact with the iguana and have him talk and play. And it really helped with my second language learners. So having a hands-on, they could actually manipulate, look at it, play with it, and while they were writing, and then they would play with it later on. Seeing the different materials is wonderful for them. I did a lot of science and math and phonics. So I used a lot of hands-on manipulatives to work with my students because they were English language learners, so I would have to use a lot of hands-on materials. I also did a unit on the earth materials, and I used a lot of the books we have here. This is on rocks and this is on soil on the move. I read both these books with my kindergarten students and they really enjoyed them. I then used the hands-on materials and I passed them around and they would get a chance to actually feel the rock and explore the rock. The students loved the rock book. Even though it's a little bit past kindergarten, they love the pictures and they would ask lots of questions. And that's what I wanted from them. I wanted them to really engage in the material and question. Other teachers asked me questions about the materials. The other kindergarten teacher really asked questions about the materials because she also had gone to Grand Valley and she was not familiar as well with the CML. So we got to discuss it, and so we got her interested in the materials that we have here. By looking through the materials, I got a feel for the way I want to teach. And I really like the hands-on inquiry methods of teaching. And by using the materials, I got a better feel for how I wanted to be a teacher.